Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about how to apply to top US universities such as Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, etc, etc. As an Australian or as any international student. Obviously you can probably tell by my accent I am Australian, and I have recently applied to a bunch of top US colleges, and I am going to be attending Yale University starting in September this year, so I have quite a lot of experience in the process because I have just gone through it myself, and I could have really done with a video like this when I was trying to apply to a bunch of the Ivy League schools in America and a couple of other ones. So I'm filming this video today to help you guys out if you are an international student looking to apply to some of the kind of top schools, or pretty much any colleges in the US. This video should be able to help you out. So this video is just going to be an overview of the whole process of applying to colleges in the US as an international student, and then in future videos coming up on my channel soon, I'm going to be posting like more specific detailed advice for each step. So for example, I'll give you like tips about how to prepare and how to sit the SATs in an upcoming video and things like that. I will give you like more specific advice in future videos, but this is just an overview of the whole process of how to apply to the US. Okay, also I did ask you guys over on my Instagram, if you want to go follow me at tia.chitty. I asked you guys for any questions that you had about the US uni application process, and I'm going to answer all of the questions that you asked at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned to hear some frequently asked questions, and if you asked a question, then stay tuned to hear your question being answered by me. So this video does apply to most colleges in the US, but I'm going to be referring mainly to the Ivy League schools and to a couple of other quite highly ranked schools such as Stanford and Northwestern, just because those are the ones that I like applied. Well, I didn't apply to Stanford, but I applied to Northwestern and most of the Ivy Leagues. So I'm going to focus on those ones, but this video should be relevant to most colleges in the US. So the first thing to do is to start early. So the mistake that I made in the process was, because, you know, so the US, their school year starts in like September. So I'm starting at Yale in September this year, even though if I'd started university in Australia, I would have started in February this year. So that's like over 6 months. Like the American school year starts over 6 months after the Australian school year. So I thought, oh, I don't need to get on to applying to the US until kind of after I've done my Australian university applications. This is wrong. The US university application process takes so much longer than the Australian application process. Like, you need to get onto it very early. If you are in year 12 right now and you want to go and study in the US, you need to get onto it now. Like, don't stress, but because I got onto mine in like October, November, and that was like way too late. So you need to start thinking about things now, and this video should help you out, so keep listening. Make sure to check the websites of the specific colleges you're wanting to apply to, but for most of them, and for all of the ones that I applied to, early decision applications were due on November the 1st, and regular decision applications were due on January the 1st. So what is regular decision and early decision, or RD and ED? So they're pretty much what they sound. Early decision is where you apply earlier to that college and then you find out whether you got in earlier. So you apply by the 1st of November and then you find out whether you got in mid-December. Whereas with regular decision, you apply by the 1st of January and you don't find out whether you got in until the end of March. These dates do vary per school, but for the Ivy League universities, those were the dates that I was dealing with for my applications. If you're wanting to apply for early decision, the thing to be wary with is you have to read the fine print on the university's websites. So some universities have a thing called restrictive early decision or restrictive early action, and there's a couple of different like terms used to describe the same thing, but basically sometimes you can only apply early decision or early action to one school. So for example, I think this is the case for most of the Ivy Leagues. Say if you wanted to apply to Harvard for early decision, you can only apply there for early decision. You can't apply to Yale or Princeton or any of the other ones, or any of the other like colleges in the US. It's only Harvard you can apply to for early action. And sometimes, and this is the one to be really careful of, sometimes if you apply to this college for early action and you get in, you have to attend, like you must attend. So that's one to be really wary of. So I would probably, I don't want to say I don't want to like tell you to not do something, but I would be very, very wary of applying early action to colleges where you must attend if you get in as an international student, just because you're quite, it's a very unfamiliar process, and you're likely to change your mind on where you want to go throughout the process. I know I certainly did. So I don't think I'd do that. So be careful about that one, but it is fine to apply to a college for early decision where you don't have to go if you get in. Even if you can only apply to that one, that you might as well, like, you can just apply to it early and see if you get in, and if you get in, then yay, you can decide whether to attend or not. And if you don't get in, then that's okay, because you're still submitting all your other applications. So let's just take Harvard for example. You could apply to Harvard for early decision, and then in December you find out that you got into Harvard, yay, but that isn't binding. That doesn't mean you have to go to Harvard, it just means you've got accepted there, so you have that as an option, and then you can continue by January the 1st to apply to Yale, Dartmouth, Cornell, Columbia, Northwestern, Stanford, wherever else you want to apply to, and then you can see when those decisions come out later in the year, or well, a couple of months later, and then you can decide whether you want to go to Harvard or whether you want to go to one of those. So that's a fine idea to do. I would just be wary of the ones that are like, you must attend if you get in early action. So yeah, okay. Okay, now let's go on to the SATs. I did a Q&A on my Instagram the other day, and so many people asked me questions about the SATs because, yeah, it is a confusing process for international students. So I do have a video coming out very soon with more specific tips about how to prepare for the SATs and where you can sit the SATs and when you can sit the SATs as an international student. But in this video, I'm just going to do a brief overview of the process. So if you are applying to top US colleges or universities, you will need to sit the SATs, and you'll probably also need to sit at least 2 SAT subject tests. You can also sit the ACT, but I did the SAT, so I don't really know how the ACT works. But this is how the SAT works. There's all these acronyms. Okay, so if you want to sit the SATs, you need to go to the College Board website and search for testing dates and locations near you. There should be one in every state in Australia. I don't know about the Northern Territory, but there should be one. If you don't live there, there should be one in your state. I know there was quite a few different locations in Western Australia. And you're going to want to choose a location and book in a test date at that location so that they don't run out of space, because sometimes they do run out of space and you don't want that to happen, because there's only like I think there's 3 or 4 testing dates per year, so, or maybe even less. Like, there's not that many, so you want to make sure you get a spot. I don't know how things are working during coronavirus. I'm pretty sure the SAT or the College Board released a statement saying they're not doing any testing until at least August. So yeah, I'm not sure how all of this application stuff may have changed during coronavirus, but I'm just talking about the way I applied. So yeah, you're going to want to book in a test. So an SAT test, and then you're also going to want to do on a separate date, because you can't do the SAT and the SAT subject tests on the same day. So you're gonna have to do, like, I did the SATs in I did the SATs in October last year, and then I did SAT subject tests in maths and chemistry in November. So what are the SATs? The SATs are basically just, I describe them, they're kind of like a much more advanced version of NAPLAN. So most of them are multiple choice, and it's just English and maths, and they're just kind of NAPLAN. It's like the NAPLAN style of questioning. And yeah, you've just got English and maths in the SAT, and it's just kind of general knowledge stuff. You should probably study for them, and I'll have tips coming up in a future video. But yeah, I didn't study for them at all, and I was able to do reasonably okay in them. And then we have the SAT subject tests. So those are used to show your expert knowledge in a certain area. Well, not expert, but like to show that you have a deeper knowledge in certain areas. So I did mine maths level 2, which is the highest level that you can do. There's maths 1 and maths 2. And then I did chemistry as well. So that's just to show that I'm really good at maths and really good at chemistry, so then I can get scores in those tests. And obviously they're just on that one subject, and they are still a very similar style of questioning. They're all multiple choice, but it's just to show how good you are at certain subjects. And I think most of the Ivy Leagues and most top schools would either highly recommend that you do at least 2 SAT subject tests, or some of them even have it as a requirement that you have to have done them to apply. So I definitely recommend doing at least 2. And if you're certain on what you want to study at college, I wasn't, but if you are, then maybe try and do the subject tests in the areas that you're looking to study at college, just because you want to show the university that you have knowledge in those areas that you're going to study at the university. Okay, the next step is looking at where to apply. And again, I do have a much more detailed video coming out on this soon, but briefly, you're just gonna want to do a lot of research. And while this is hard as an international student, it's hard when you can't actually visit the colleges, but you kind of want to see where you get good vibes from. So a couple of points I wrote down to consider is location, size, subjects offered, do they offer the courses that you want to study, cost, including like different scholarships and financial aid that you can receive, the prestige of the university. While that's like a factor, it does come into account when you're looking to get jobs in the future. And then just the vibe of the university, and the vibe of, like, try and, if you can, chat to any current or former students of the university, and just try and, like, you know, take virtual campus tours. I don't know, just try and get a vibe of the university, because, I don't know, the vibe is just an important factor when choosing a university, I feel. All right. So wait, the reason I keep looking down is I've got this notebook here. I have like all this information. I have like pages and pages of information to give you in this video. But, okay. Right, so the next step that we have is actually applying. So I applied via a website called the Common App, or the Common Application, and I could apply for all of the universities I wanted to apply to through this application. There are a couple of other applications you can use, but I think the Common App is the most common one, and and it's the one that I used, and I found it really good, so I'm just going to talk about that one. On the Common Application, you can apply to up to 20 colleges. I did not apply to that many. I didn't even apply to like 10, I don't think, but you can apply to up to 20. And first thing that you do is you fill out the common section of the Common Application, and this has stuff like personal, academic, extracurricular information, and also a personal essay. This section takes a long time to fill out. I know I just briefly listed some things there that you think, surely, oh, that won't take very long. It takes ages to fill out. Like, there's so many different sections to fill out, and it's even harder as an international student because lots of the things that you have to fill out are like in the American style format, and it's asking me for my GPA and stuff like that, and I'm like, but I don't have a GPA. And so yeah, this takes a while to fill out. Allow a long time to fill this part out. And you're also going to have to write a personal essay in the common section of the Common Application, and there's going to be like 8 different questions that you can choose from, and I have gone into what I wrote in my personal essay in a previous video that I uploaded like last week, I think, and it's called How I Got Into Yale. And in that video I go through all of the stuff I wrote on my Common Application and my specific application to Yale that helped me get in, so you can go check that out if you want. But yeah, you're going to write a personal essay in answer to one of the 8 questions. You can just choose any one of them, and that essay, along with the other information in the common section of the Common Application, will get sent to all of the colleges that you apply to. And then for each college that you're applying to, so each of the up to 20 colleges, you also have to complete questions that are specific to that college. So each college you have to complete specific questions, and these will be things like courses, like what areas of interest you want to study. Something that's really interesting is for most of my applications, they just said, they didn't say what course are you going to study, what course you're applying for. They just said indicate some areas of academic interest that you may or may not study. So it's really like, it's non-binding. You don't have to study what you put down on the application. The American system is much more fluid. You can like much more easily move between different areas of like academic interest, and that's suits me very well because I don't know what I want to study, and on the applications there was a space where you could just put undecided, like I don't know what I want to apply for yet. So yeah, you're going to put areas of academic interest. When you plan on starting at the college, you can upload resumes for some colleges, and then each college will also have college specific questions and sometimes short answers and essays. So for most of the Ivy Leagues, they do have short answers and essays. So if you applied to all 8 Ivy Leagues, you would have to write 9 essays, because you're going to have to write the common one and then an essay for each different university, and then also for each different university, on top of writing an essay, like another essay, you're going to have to write short answer questions. So like these are questions, the essays are like 600 words and the short answer questions are 200 to 300 words. So for example, I can't remember exactly, but just take an example of one of the colleges I applied to. In the college specific question, I would have to go through like my course and when I plan on starting and my resume and everything, and then I would have to answer 4 questions that all required just a one-line answer. One of my university applications asked me, what is your favorite movie? What is your favorite snack? And I was like, I'm not sure if you're admitting me based on what my favorite snack is, but that's slightly concerning. So the questions really range a lot, from like, why do you want to study at this university, to what's your favorite snack, to who inspires you, to talk about a community that you've been part of. They could be anything. So yeah, there'll be about like 4 questions that are just a line in answer, and then there'll be 2 or 3 questions that are 300 words in answer, and then there'll be 1 question where you have to write a 600-word personal essay. That's just for 1 college. Then you double that if you're applying to 2 colleges, triple it if you're applying to 3 colleges. If you're applying to 20 colleges, good luck to you. You're gonna have to spend like a lot of time on this application. So basically, let's just do an overview because I feel like I've been messing around a bit. So the common application, you have the common part of the common application, which is your personal information, academics, extracurriculars, and your personal essay. That gets sent to all the colleges you apply to, and then all of those colleges each have a separate part of their application as well. They each have an individual application that gets sent just to them, and that's going to be with another personal essay and lots more questions, just random questions that you're going to have to answer either as essays or short answers. So you can probably see why I'm telling you to start on this early. It takes a very long time because you have to write these answers, then you have to proofread them all, and like the number of answers that you have to write is honestly like, it is a lot. It's a lot. So you're going to want to start early. If you're in year 12, you're going to want to start now, okay? And I will have videos with more specific tips about filling out the common application coming out soon. But yeah, so basically, let me just turn the page of my notebook. You work on these questions for ages and ages, and then you submit them. So you'll submit your application to each college separately, and after you've submitted your application, either a couple of hours or up to a couple of days after you submitted your application, each college should contact you via email with information where you can log onto their portal. So when I applied to Yale, I got an email from Yale and it said, hi, this is your username and password, and here's a link to the Yale portal, the Yale admissions portal, and then you can click on the link and go and log in, and you can check the status of your application, and on there should be a checklist of things that you need to do. So once you submit your application, your work is not done yet. There is still a checklist of things you need to submit. So for example, not only do you need to sit the SATs, but once you get your SAT score, you need to send that score individually to each separate college. So you need to go onto the College Board website and like get your score and send it individually to each different college. So that's going to be one of the things on the checklist. You might need to upload transcripts, or I had to upload like some essays that I'd written in year 12, like in-class essays. I had to do one for economics and English, I think, for one of the universities I applied to. There's just going to be various things. For some universities, you'll need to do a video portfolio, so that's normally like a 2-minute video, just about you. And you also may get requests for interviews. So you might get former students of the university that you applied to contacting you asking to conduct an alumni interview. So I got alumni interviews for most of the universities I applied to. I had one for Yale. They normally try to get the alumni interview with someone in your area, with an alumni who like lives near you, so you can go and actually catch up in person and have the interview. But because I live in Western Australia, most of the Ivy Leagues didn't have any alumni who live in Western Australia, so most of my interviews were conducted by Skype. And my Yale one was with this really nice guy who lives in Canberra, and he'd graduated from Yale about 4 years ago. So you'll have that interview. And again, I will film a video specifically on how to do alumni interviews soon, but my main tip is when you get the email, respond promptly to the email. Look out for these emails. Do not miss the email, okay? So it's important to go onto the admissions portal of each college that you've applied to and make sure that you've done everything on the checklist, or that you're doing everything on the checklist and getting everything sent in, because if you don't send everything in, that is going to drastically decrease your chances of being admitted. And the last thing I thought you should know is that you have to pay for absolutely everything. I'm going to talk about financial aid in a second, but you have to pay for this whole process. So you have to pay to sit the SATs, then you have to pay to send the SAT score to every single school you want to send it to. And it was like $16 US, I think, which is like 25 Australian dollars. You had to pay 25 Australian dollars to send the application to each separate university. So I had to pay to send it to Harvard, pay to send it to Yale, pay to send it to Princeton, etc, etc, etc. And then you have to pay about 150 Australian dollars to submit each separate application. So again, $150 to submit the Harvard application, $150 to submit the Yale one, $150 to submit the Princeton one. So if you apply to 20 colleges, you can imagine this is going to add up. And then, we're not done. The most ironic of them all, you have to pay to submit your financial aid application to each individual college. When I got to this point and we had to pay to submit the financial aid application, I was literally speechless. This whole process is so expensive. It is a money-making scheme. Okay, I'm not gonna have a rant, but yeah. So the last thing I was gonna talk about is financial aid applications. So each college is different and you'll need to apply to financial aid differently for each college. So you're going to need to go onto their website and find the page with information about how to apply for financial aid as an international student, and just follow all those steps. And if you have trouble with this, or if you have trouble at any point of the process, just contact the admissions department or the financial aid department at that university and they should be able to help you. So yeah, don't feel scared to reach out for help, because it's a very, very confusing and daunting process, especially as an international student. So yeah, make sure you're asking for help if you need any help. Alright, we have come to the part of the video where I'm going to be going through we've had many phone dramas, and this is new. It's still got the plastic screen on it. I'm not going to go into that, but we have come to the part of the video where I'm going to answer the questions that you asked me on Instagram, and you asked me quite a lot of questions, so I'm just going to answer most of them. I'm going to answer the ones that actually apply to this video, because just a couple of the questions that you guys asked were not really all that relevant to this video, but most of them were, so I'm going to answer the ones that are. Okay, and I'm going to go fairly quickly through all these questions because there is quite a lot to go through. How did you prepare for your SATs? I'm going to film a video coming out very soon, specifically all about the SATs. If you applied for financial aid, was it enough to make attending affordable? Yes, it was. The financial aid at Ivy League universities and at especially Yale was so generous, and it definitely made it affordable for me. I didn't think it was going to be an affordable option at all, but the financial aid made it very affordable, and I am going to go through how to apply for financial aid and what's the difference between financial aid and scholarships and stuff. I'm going to go through that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. What's the best things you can do in year 11? Should you start looking into it early? yes, you should start looking into US applications very early. I would definitely start looking at it in year 11. Just start doing some research, have a look at what unis you might want to apply to, and just have a look at the application processes for them, start thinking about them, and also get on to preparing for the SATs and possibly even sitting SATs in year 11. You can sit them more than once, so you could sit them in year 11 and then again in year 12 and try and improve on your score. So yeah, I'd look at that. Did you get a scholarship? No, the Ivy League universities don't give scholarships, but they do give financial aid, which in my case was actually probably more generous than what I would have been given in a scholarship. What should you achieve/do to have a realistic chance of getting accepted? It depends where you want to go. It just totally depends on the school that you want to go to, but if you just keep doing your best in everything that you're doing, then you couldn't have done any more. So I'd just like try and do your best in school and all your extracurriculars. The US is very big into extracurriculars, like they really like that. So, you know, either try and get a leadership position at school or work for a charity, do some community service work, do some like sporting. If you're an elite athlete, that really helps you get into universities in the US. Yeah, so they're big into extracurriculars. Music as well is a good one. So try and like make sure you have more strings to your bow than just academics, but also have strong academics. Kind of just do it all, you know? At what stage in the year should you start applying? If I could turn back time, I would have started applying for US universities at the beginning of year 12, and I would have started looking at the process in year 11. When should you start studying for the SATs? Again, I'll go into this more in a future video, but I would start studying probably a couple of months in advance. American students study for the SATs for years, so you're going up against people who have been preparing for these for a very long time, who sit them multiple times. So yeah, probably more than a few months. Probably like, I don't know, 4 months? I'm not sure, but don't take advice from me. I started studying the night before. Are SAT subjects like HSC subjects? So the SAT itself, I said this earlier in the video, the SAT is English and maths, but the SAT subject tests kind of are like HSC subjects. Yeah, most of them. What should you include in your application? I think I pretty much went through this in the video, but I will also go through this in a future video specifically about the Common Application. How can you make your application stand out? If you're applying to Ivy League schools, in order to make your application stand out, you need to be extraordinary at something. So this could be sport, this could be community service, this could be solving Rubik's Cubes, this could be playing the violin, this could be anything, but you need to be like definitely national level, definitely national finalist level, almost like international level. You need to be, the thing is, if you're applying to Ivy League universities, most of the applicants, like almost all of the applicants are very, very smart. Almost all of the applicants will have straight A's. Almost all of the applicants will also be very good at music or sport, or like they will have started some charity or something. Like you're trying to make yourself stand out amongst people, like a group of people who already stand out a lot. So you need to, if you really want to make your application stand out to Ivy League universities, you need to have done something like, sorry, I don't want to stress you out, because you don't have to be absolutely incredible to get into an Ivy League university. Exhibit A, I am definitely not absolutely incredible, but you need to, actually, you know what, I'm just going to film a whole video on how to make your application stand out, because otherwise I'm going to talk way too long right now. Are the SATs harder than WACE? I think that's what they're called in WA. So are the SATs harder than your final, like WACE or VCE or HSC exams? No, they're not. They're easier. Do languages give extra points towards uni? I don't know, because I didn't do a language in year 11 and 12, and I don't speak it fluently, but all I'm going to say is that it definitely wouldn't hurt. I think it would be beneficial, yes, to have a language, or to be able to speak a language. Other than English, obviously. How long do the essays need to be, and how long did it take for you to write them? Alright, So like I said earlier in the video, they need to be about 600 words. It probably does, actually no, I think it was 650 words maximum. So they're not very long. You need to write fairly concisely. It's about a page of size 12 font. How long did it take me to write them? They took me about a week because I got onto the applications very late and was rushing. But I would recommend giving like a couple of months, like write the essay. Well, you're gonna have to plan the essay, then write the essay, then proofread it, and then finesse it and finesse it and finesse it. You should probably allow a couple of months to write your essay, because you need it to be like polished. And I am gonna make a video about how to write good essays. I'm gonna make, how many videos? I'm gonna be making like so many videos. I need to start like making a list. Where did you do the SATs? I did them somewhere in City Beach. There was a school in City Beach, and it's normally you'll do it at a school. A school will just host the SATs. Yeah, I did it in City Beach. But there are various locations in WA. What times do they look at for women's track and cross country to get a Division 1 scholarship? I am going to talk about this question in my video on how to get recruited to top US universities and how the US university recruiting system works for athletes. What are you studying? I don't know. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And how do you get motivated to put down all the distractions and really study? Okay, I'm going to save these questions for an actual Q&A video when I film one, because they're not like directly relevant to the topic of this video. So those are all of the questions that you guys asked. So thank you very much to everyone who asked a question, and I hope that I answered them okay. So that brings me to the end of this video. Like I said, I will film lots of videos in the future which go into more specific, which go more deeply into specific parts of the process that I've talked about in this video. But I hope this gave you an idea of what you need to do. And the biggest takeaway is to get onto this early. So in the year that you're in year 12, I would recommend, actually no, I'd recommend getting onto it in year 11 probably. Like the earlier the better, but if you're in year 12 right now, then I would recommend, I keep saying recommend, but I would recommend getting onto it now, having a look, just go have a look at the websites of the universities that you're applying to and see what you need to do to be able to apply to them, because it is a very, very, very time-consuming process, so you don't want to leave it too late. Learn from my mistakes. Alright, thank you so much. I've been talking for a very long time and my throat is sore. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below for more videos. I'm at the moment posting heaps of videos about application processes for US and Australian universities, and also how to get scholarships and financial aid. And when I finally start at Yale, which will depend on coronavirus, I'm going to be filming heaps of university vlogs. Like I'm going to be filming move-in, room tours, and then day in my life at university. And I am going to be a student athlete at Yale, so I'll be filming about how I'm doing that. So yeah, there'll be a bunch of videos coming out on my channel. So yeah, subscribe if you don't want to miss them. I hope you found this video helpful. If you do have any questions, comment them down below and I'll try to get to your comment and answer it. And yeah, bye. I'll see you in my next video.